Cook leads Bills after Josh Allen elbowed going for rebound in 30-10 win over the Jets. Cute line, Josh Allen had a low passer rating on Sunday, but gained 40 yards on this run and 59 for the game. Photo by Kostas Limperopoulos / Buffalo Bills. By Chuck Pollock, Sun senior sports columnist. What would you say the Bills' chances were of winning a road game when their defending NFL MVP quarterback, Josh Allen, for the first time in his 8-year pro career, failed to run or throw for a touchdown and had to leave the game with an injured nose? Well, in a decidedly boring game, Buffalo hung a 30-10 defeat on the Jets, on a perfect Sunday afternoon at MetLife Stadium in a game you never thought the Bills should lose. After being embarrassed defensively 7 days ago in a miracle 41-40 win over Baltimore, a team clearly with more talent left the Ravens in a state of shock. Yesterday, Buffalo's D played like the second coming of the 1985 Bears, flummoxing the Jets after they scored 32 points in a 2-point home loss to the Steelers a week earlier. Defensive coordinator Bobby Babbich's crew held New York 0-2 to a puny 154 yards total offense, 54 of them passing, while sacking the Jets' QBs 4 times, 2 of starter Justin Fields before knocking him into concussion protocol in the second half, the others suffered by former Bill Tyrod Taylor. Buffalo, 2-0, held coach Aaron Glenn's offense to 22 minutes time of possession, 0-for-11 on third down, and had 1 takeaway. Meanwhile, Allen, in one of his worst statistical games in the NFL, 14 of 25 passing for 148 yards, no TDs or picks, and an embarrassing 73.4 passer rating. He also had 6 carries for 59 yards, including a 40-yarder, and still controlled the game. That is until he was sacked by Jets backup tackle Jovan Briggs late in the first quarter. He jumped to his feet, signaled for backup QB Mitch Trubisky, and raced to the sideline with blood gushing from his nose. He missed 2 plays and returned to the game to start the second period. When asked about the injury, Allen said, "I don't know what hit me, if it was a knee, a hand. My helmet just kind of came down right on the bridge of my nose and it just started leaking blood. It was kind of like playing high school basketball when you get elbowed in the nose on a rebound." What saved Allen's bacon was running back James Cook, who rushed for 132 yards on 21 carries with touchdowns of 1 and 44 yards, his 5th carry of that distance or longer during his career. He now has the most rushing TDs in the NFL since the start of the 2024 season with 19. But the man of few words, when asked about his performance, merely allowed, "Our identity is to run the football, and that's what we did." For the game, Buffalo rushed 43 times for 232 yards. Notes from the Bills' 30-10 victory over the Jets Sunday afternoon at sold-out MetLife Stadium. New York defensive tackle Harrison Phillips, the former Bill, was tabbed as captain against his previous team. Buffalo's only takeaway was a fumble by Jets quarterback Justin Fields off a hit by edge rusher Joey Bosa with a recovery by the opposite edge, A.J. Epineza. The Bills' first sack of Fields was shared by backup tackle Zion Logue and end Greg Rousseau. Logue was one of the subs for Oliver. Matt Milano got the other, while tackle Deone Walker and Bosa each got one of former Bills QB Tyrod Taylor after Fields left the game to enter concussion protocol. There were 2 key defensive back inactives for the Bills, Taron Johnson, quad, one of the NFL's elite nickel corners, and Jordan Hancock, shoulder, the rookie draft choice who saw considerable action in the absence of Trey Davius White, groin, Buffalo's number 1 draft pick in 2017, who sat out last week's win over Baltimore. This week he's back, and the rookie mostly sat. Meanwhile, top draft pick Maxwell Hairston, leg, will still be on injured reserve 2 more weeks. Another key loss was Oliver, defensive star of the win over Baltimore, by causing the momentum-changing fumble by running back Derrick Henry, logging a sack of quarterback Lamar Jackson, 3 tackles for loss and 6 tackles, all solos. But, during the past week at practice, he was a victim of friendly fire as a teammate stepped on his ankle, knocking him out of the lineup for a week or 2. Also inactive for the Bills were healthy wide receiver Curtis Samuel, linebacker Shaq Thompson, hamstring/hand, tackle Chris Lunt, and defensive end Landon Jackson. Walker, a former draft choice, replaced Oliver, while with Taron Johnson out, the Bills instead went with 3 linebackers including Dorian Williams, who took what would have been Johnson's position. Chuck Pollock, a Wellsville Sun senior sports columnist, can be reached at pollock@9net.net. The moment the cameras panned to Josh Allen clutching his elbow, a hush fell across Highmark Stadium. For a split second, the raucous Bills Mafia, the same fan base that had been breaking tables since dawn in the parking lot, froze in place, fearing the worst. Their franchise quarterback, the man who had turned Buffalo into perennial contenders, had been caught in the chaos of a scramble play that felt more suited to basketball than football. Allen, always willing to throw his body around, had lunged into a crowd of defenders and teammates in what could only be described as an attempt at a rebound. He was trying to recover his own batted pass, wrestling with linemen and linebackers like a power forward under the rim. The result? An awkward collision that sent a sharp jolt into his throwing arm. When he jogged gingerly to the sideline, flexing his elbow, the Jets sideline smirked. They smelled opportunity. But then came James Cook, the unexpected hero. Cook had been waiting for a game like this. Drafted to be a dynamic backfield threat, he'd spent much of his young career in Allen's shadow. Every Bills highlight seemed to orbit around the quarterback's cannon arm, his scrambling improvisations, his ability to turn broken plays into magic. Cook was often the side note, the safety valve, the player defenses tolerated until he made them pay. On Sunday, with Allen sidelined for stretches and visibly limited even when he returned, Cook became the centerpiece. He ran with a fury that suggested he'd been saving a storm for this very stage. The first statement came early in the second quarter. Facing a 3rd and 3 at midfield, backup quarterback Mitch Trubisky, thrust into duty while trainers examined Allen, handed the ball to Cook. The Jets had stacked the box, daring Buffalo to test them on the ground. Cook took the handoff, saw a crease just wide of right tackle, and exploded through it. One cut and he was gone, outrunning safeties for a 48-yard touchdown that blew the roof off the stadium. The crowd roared, not just in relief, but in recognition. Cook wasn't just filling space. He was carrying the Bills. Jets grounded. New York came into the game touting its defense as one of the league's nastiest, a unit that thrived on disrupting rhythm and bullying quarterbacks. But Cook's dominance disarmed them. Every time the Jets tried to bring extra rushers, Buffalo countered with screens and delayed handoffs that put Cook in space. He turned linebackers into traffic cones, made safeties whiff, and racked up yards like he was playing backyard football. By halftime, Cook had piled up 120 yards from scrimmage. By the end of the night, he had surpassed 200. The scoreboard, once tight in the opening quarter, had tilted heavily in Buffalo's favor. Bills 30, Jets 10.